Hi, Brandon Hardison, president of Champion Strategies, and also speaking for our ongoing public workshop. We had a parent call in and wanted to know more about what we do. So let's just pick it up from that point. Another thing about public speaking is identity and objective for your audience. Some of the public speaking tips clearly overlap. These are directed by a couple of links. And here's what I mean. Your aim is what you're intended to present, but your objective considers what your audience will be able to do by the end of the presentation. Two distinct tracks because you can talk to them, but if they don't take action, it's a waste. If your presentation is about your formal, one sided communication of information, only you speaking, then your objective may be simply to be about an audience hearing and understanding you and being informed about some facts. Now, one important question to keep asking yourself is how do I know that they, in this case, can you hear me? Do you understand what research I did to give you that answer? The answer in this might depend on what kind of feedback is available. What are they looking puzzled throughout the audience? Are they laughing at your jokes? What type of questions do they ask you at the end? Are you being graded formally for doing this presentation for feedback? Now, speaking of feedback, feedback can be done immediate or right after the presentation. An objective is made clear when it can be expressed in behavioral terms. Understanding is not a behavioral objective because the audience may not have been required to do anything to understand. They can just sit and passively listen. Public speaking strongly suggests please know your audience. See, because the feedback may not be until someone after the presentation. This is where the objective might be sales best, talking about gaining more sales for your product or services within a month. Or maybe your presentation is influential and your audience is to make a decision vote about policy that you're advocating for the next election. In any situation, whether it's teaching, training, the process can include an assessment of their behavioral outcome. The audience needs to write an essay on the content of your presentation. Depending on the value of the essay, feedback you then would evaluate in a different process and make adjustments to your presentation. Give your presentation a beginning, a middle, and an end. Now we're going back to basic one on one for the person who sent me the email. I know you've heard of that statement before somewhere in your school days. When you're writing something, a beginning, a middle, and an end. By structuring your content, it's essential for the clarity that you're trying to deliver. Without statements of intent or limitation, the presentation can appear vague and disjointed. The audience has no concept of your direction or won't know their involvement in the process. So, with that said, now let's look at this introduction phase. This can include some of the following. Now, in any good presentation, I know you've heard some great welcomes, some funny welcomes, and the aim was basically to loosen up so you can be at one with the audience. Make sure that your jokes are clean. Make sure that we try to stay away from politics or religion. But yes, your opening is everything. It sets the tone for you and the guests that are looking at you of how you're going to move this forward. Any methods you are using currently, are you discussing, describing some of the content before you deliver it? Are you using any visual aids to help your audience anticipate their involvement? This can be an extension of that aim, that takeaway that you want them to understand. State any objective for the audience. See tips all the time of people who've already done that. When you seek them out, the better off you're going to be. And I would like to leave you with this. Public speaking is the easiest but the toughest thing for people to do. The key thing, practice, practice, and more practice. Once again, Brandon Hardison, President of Champion Strategies. We'll dive into some more of this in our next video. And as always, in parting, you go out and make it a champion.